If you are someone who regularly interacts with trans content online or are trans yourself, this video is probably not for you, so feel free to click off. Or keep that in mind when I inevitably get mad. I just cannot stand the people in my comment section who consistently misinterpret or misuse such basic terminology. So basic. Like instead of male, they'll say man, or instead of boy, they'll say male. These two words are interchangeable, or these two words mean exactly the same thing. Fun fact, they don't. They'll be over there trying to educate me on biology and transness not existing and gender being equivalent to sex, and I'll just be here like, what grade did you drop out of school? Because I doubt you made it to the double digits. Or you're American. That was a joke. I'm sorry, my Americans. Some of y'all are smart. You'll never be a man. You'll never be a woman. Whatever they think. I'm just like, I don't care. What bothers me is your inaccurate use of terminology. Like, basic stuff too. And they'll be like, gender is a binary. No, it's not. You can try again. Sex is a binary. No, it's not. What we're gonna do today is learn a little bit of biology and figure out how to use the correct terminology, and yeah, that's it. Which is why most of you don't need this. I'll get like 4 Bs, that's okay. Imagine you are a MAGA, not a conservative, because I actually learned that conservatives are really nice, and I'm sorry for trash talking you guys like once or twice before. Imagine you're a MAGA, you got your red hat, and you get asked a question. How many genders are there? If I was them, I'd probably think so hard, use all my brain power, and then there's 2 genders, male and female. Like, bro, are we serious right now? Male and female are not a gender, despite what some people may say or think. Male and female are an example of a sex which is based on someone's phenotype, which is their physical characteristics, like their anatomy, their hormones, whatever. I'm about to blow some people's minds, like, off their head, completely gone. Sex is not a binary. I know, that is insane, right? Who knew? For the most part, and in most people, it's gonna be a binary. But it's not a binary, so you can't just say it is a binary because intersex people exist. Clap. Clap now. No, but like, for real, I get so annoyed when some people choose to ignore the whole existence of intersex people, especially politicians. Like, how are you going to pass a law that doesn't take into account intersex people? Here's probably an example. I don't have it on my mind. I'm not that smart.
What about intersex individuals?
I don't even know what that means, ma'am.
Also, did you know that some animals can change their sex? Like, I think clownfish are all born male, and then they can, like, switch. So, in either of those 2 examples, it's not a binary, guys. I know some of your brains just, like, lit up. Like, that light bulb finally switched. No, it didn't. They don't care. I don't know why I'm making this video. They don't care. They literally don't care. Now, this one is my favorite, but it's a lot more to explain because unlike sex, which can be based off of phenotype, gender is a little bit more up here and individualized. Gender can kind of be split into 2 concepts, which is gender identity and gender expression. Gender identity would be how you internalize and experience your own gender. And gender expression would be how you express that internalized or not internalized and forced gender. And we will get to that. But we'll start with gender identity. There are 3 main points that I think are really important. So firstly, gender does not mean gender assigned at birth. Gender assigned at birth is something we do because in the majority of cases, a person who is male is going to be a boy. Most people are going to fall into that category. Gender doesn't match sex because gender is in here while sex is a characteristic. It can be based on a lot of factors, and I feel like we don't even fully understand it at this point. Gender basically is a concept, a social construct. Oh, now I'm really sounding like I'm pushing the transgender ideology. Wait. Okay, gender is a social construct because it is in here, right? It doesn't physically exist. And there are other constructs that, you know, we're trying to debunk, like women in the kitchen, boys in construction, stuff like that. Most people will develop and they will fit into those constructs. But the reason we say gender is a spectrum, which is where the spectrum part comes in, is because not every boy or every girl is going to be the exact same. And that is because we have all these social constructs that fit and push boys and girls, and I know there's intersex people and there's non-binary, but I'm just trying to make it simple, into these specific categories. And that is why transgender people exist, or at least partially, because there are different roles assigned to being a boy and a girl, and trans people more or less fit better in a certain role than they do another one.
Let's talk about gender. It's a social thing, right? You got these roles and responsibilities that you assign to a specific group. Now hear me out. Not only has the concept of a man and a woman changed within our culture over the course of hundreds of years, not only are these characteristics and the amount of genders different between cultures, not only has the concept of gender identity changed since the beginning of civilization, but between two individuals is a different concept of that gender identity. Trans people don't just feel like a man or a woman, they are a man or a woman, or neither, or both. And dysphoria comes from the fact that we've applied physical characteristics to social categories.
Gender is also on internal sense of being. Sometimes you know and sometimes you don't. Like, for example, for me, in my life experience, since it was around 6 or 7, I've always known that I was not a boy. I did not want to be a boy. I didn't want no boy stuff. I knew my gender from that age. I'm making assumptions right now, so don't quote me on this, but I feel like if you're a cisgender boy, you also have this internal sense of gender. It's just that it doesn't differ from the norm, so you don't notice it. That is my hypothesis. Someone do a study on that. That is somewhat of the basics of gender identity. It goes way deeper, but if we want to be simple, it is internal and different from your gender assigned at birth, and it is also a spectrum. Then for gender expression, we typically have, as I touched on, societal roles that push boys, girls, etc. into certain roles in society and how they should act, how they should speak, how they should look, what they should wear, all those fun things. Individual people, and this is how it comes back to being a spectrum, choose how they display their gender. Like, some boys may wear crop tops and some boys may wear baggy pants. Those are both examples of gender expression. And then there's also gender like evolution, to keep it simple. Your gender doesn't have to stay constant, especially not your gender expression. That changes all the time, of course. And then also there's expressions themselves, how you talk, how you enunciate, how you pronounce things, actions you do you move your hands when you talk. That's why I come back to it being a spectrum and to it being up here and not physical, because no one's gender is defined by like anatomy, because gender is not one thing or one construct. It is a bunch of different things merging together. That is why I just don't see the argument for your gender is your sex. I mean, I dress like a boy, but how could I or how could a trans person exist then? If your gender was your sex, then the trans people couldn't exist, because that feeling would not exist, right? That is what I would argue. Maybe I'm sounding like a dumbass. Somewhere here, they're arguing that trans people don't exist. Or up here. I'm not sure. I would just say you're wrong. Maybe the idea of a binary is cool for you, but like, I just don't see it. If you try and argue that biology is binary, or that humans in general are binary in any case, you just don't get anywhere, because no things are exactly the same, right? Like, I just don't see the appeal. You know, if your literacy skills need a little bit of help and you're wondering, where do trans people fall into this? Right here! Thank you. Yes, I did try my best to make it very simple for those of us who still can't grasp this, which probably isn't you, but it's some of you. Though those people didn't watch this far into the video. I just want to make it anyways, because now I feel like there's no obligation to correct them. I did my part. I tried my best. Thank you to all my channel members who make these videos possible. Yes! And thank you for watching to the end. Goodbye!